I still remember the first time Captain Marcus Reed looked at me like I was nothing. The way his eyes slid over my uniform, lingered on the single bar on my shoulder, and then curled into a smirk that said, "You don't belong here." My name is Major Elena Voss. I'd spent 12 years clawing my way up in a world that still believes brass and ego belong only to men. I'd led teams through dust storms that swallowed convoys whole. I'd carried wounded soldiers on my back while bullets sang overhead. And I'd come home with medals I never hung on the wall because humility was the only armor some people couldn't shoot through. But none of that mattered the day I walked into Fort Harlan as the new deputy base commander. To them, I was just the woman they stuck in the job to fill a quota. To him, Captain Reed, I was a walking joke. From day one, he made sure everyone knew it. He'd salute me with 2 fingers, lazy and mocking. He'd forget to forward mission briefs to me. In the officers' mess, he'd raise his voice just loud enough. "Careful, boys, don't sit too close, might catch whatever affirmative action disease got her promoted." Laughter. Always laughter. I smiled. I always smiled. Because I knew something they didn't. The paperwork finalizing my appointment as full base commander, the one that would strip every ounce of authority from men like Reed, had already been signed by the 3-star general himself. It was sitting in a sealed envelope in the commanding general's office, waiting for the perfect moment. I just had to survive the next 30 days of hell first. Every morning, I put on the same calm mask, walked into that viper's nest, and let them spit their venom. Every night, I went home, closed the door, and cried until my ribs hurt. Not because their words cut deep, they did, but because I was terrified I'd break before the envelope was opened. I was terrified I'd prove them light. But what I didn't know yet was that the moment they pushed me too far would be the exact second everything changed. It all exploded on a Thursday. We were in the main briefing room, 40 officers crammed shoulder to shoulder for the monthly command review. I was supposed to give the logistics update. I'd spent 3 sleepless nights preparing it because I knew they were waiting for me to fail. I was halfway through my slides when Captain Reed interrupted. Again. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, and laughed loud enough for the microphones to catch it. "Major Voss, sweetheart," he drawled, "maybe stick to something simpler next time. Numbers clearly aren't your thing." The room went dead quiet. You could have heard a pin drop on carpet. Something inside me snapped, not into rage, but into ice. Cold, sharp, unbreakable ice. I felt every pair of eyes on me, waiting for me to shrink, waiting for the emotional female to cry or storm out. Instead, I closed my laptop, walked to the front of the room, and looked straight at him. "Captain Reed," I said, voice steady, "stand up." He blinked, then smirked wider, like it was part of the joke. The room tittered nervously. I said, "Stand up." Slowly, still grinning, he rose, towering over me by a foot. The smirk said, "Go ahead, little girl, embarrass yourself." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "Captain Marcus Reed, who exactly do you think you are?" He opened his mouth, probably to deliver whatever punchline he'd rehearsed in his head 1,000 times. I didn't let him. Because in 24 hours, every single person in this room, including you, will be reporting directly to me. The promotion board results were finalized yesterday. I am your new base commander. Effective 0800 tomorrow, you will salute me. You will address me as ma'am. And if you ever speak to me or any officer like that again, I will end your career so fast you'll be guarding a warehouse in Alaska by Christmas. You could have heard hearts stopping. His face drained of color so fast, I thought he'd faint. The smirk melted into something small and naked and terrified. I let the silence sit there, heavy and suffocating, for 5 full seconds. Then I turned to the rest of the room. Anyone else want to test me? Not a soul moved. The next morning, the official announcement went out base-wide. My new rank was penned on my chest in a quiet ceremony. No fanfare, just the general, me, and a photographer. By noon, my nameplate on the door read, Commander, Fort Harlan. Captain Reed was waiting outside my office when I arrived, hat in hand, face gray. He saluted so stiffly I thought his arm would break. Ma'am, permission to speak. I let him stand there for a long moment. Then I nodded. He apologized, voice cracking, eyes on the floor. He told me he'd been passed over for promotion 3 times, that he was scared, that he took it out on me because I was an easy target. He begged me not to destroy him. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just looked at him and said, Captain, the fact that you're still standing here in that uniform means I'm already more merciful than you ever were. Don't waste my mercy. He spent the next year under my command. He became the most punctual, most professional officer on base. Some people said I broke him. I didn't. I just showed him the same mirror he'd been shoving in my face for months. And you know what? The day he finally earned his promotion under my signature, he cried when he saluted me. Not from fear this time, from gratitude. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. Sometimes it's about rising so high they have no choice but to look up and see exactly who they tried to bury. I still have the recording of that briefing room moment on my phone. I've never played it for anyone. I don't need to. Because every time I walk past that room now, I remember the girl who cried herself to sleep for 30 nights straight. And I smile, knowing she became the woman an entire base learned to stand at attention for. Never forget, the quiet ones aren't weak. We're just waiting for the perfect moment to remind the world who we really are.